This is why everyone should be accumulating at least 1,000 XRP. I'm talking ASAP, because there is some really big news on the very close horizon that will ultimately mean, XRP could be in for some massive price action, guys. And I don't want anyone to miss out, but I also don't want anyone, sitting down on a couch right now, pausing the video, jumping off and going to buy XRP. You have to know the reasons why, and I'm glad to bring them to you in today's video. So let's start off where I like to start off in most cases and look at the dominance, right? This is a great indication of a project based on the entire cryptocurrency market. So it pretty much puts the cryptocurrency's market cap against the whole entire market cap, which is a good indication because ultimately it tells us, hey, this project isn't just performing very well or is a good project. It's a good project because it's beating the market, right? And as we've seen in the past with XRP, it's flogged the market. 17.5% back in 2018, amazing, right? Fast forward to 2023, it's at 2.15%, which actually is still good, but kind of what you would expect from a project ranked number 6 on the global rankings, right, in terms of market cap size. But where it really all fell apart was actually in 2020. It was at 5.31%, and what this kind of indicates is, hey, it was looking good, like quite violent, right? We were going to have a huge run up here because XRP is still, at least I believe, a very good project. And ultimately, what happened? Well, SEC came knocking on their door and said, hey, we're going to classify you as a security, and ultimately it's led to this multi-year lawsuit. And the really interesting thing is, guys, and why I want to bring this video to you today, is it looks like it could be coming to an end as soon as June the 13th. I want to explain to you why. But ultimately, this is going to unlock unprecedented potential. We've heard many, many outlandish price predictions with XRP, but I do think they could be coming true. Even if they don't come true in the next few months, I do think that it has the potential to come through in 2025 and ultimately not just push the price of XRP up, but the whole entire market. Because this does mean more rather, than a single lawsuit against a single company. Let's talk about this a little bit more, right? So Ripple recently won the right to unseal what's called the Hinman documents from the SEC, which pretty much described why Ethereum was not a security based on what Hinman, which is a former SEC director, said in a 2018 speech. So ultimately, the reason that led him to say, hey, ETH isn't a security is being unlocked now. So we can actually find out the criteria. And what sort of Ripple is hoping for is that under the same guidelines as ETH, it could ultimately mean that Ripple or XRP is not a security, right? This is super important. And it also seems like it is very possible because the SEC has tried to hide these documents for a very long time now. And ultimately the court went, no, hand them over. Let's have a look at them. And this was supposed to be coming out a little bit sooner than the 13th of June, but they've extended about a 1-week grace period so that they can redact any sort of confidential information for the public to see, okay? This is very exciting stuff, guys. I'm really, really pumped for this, and this could mean some huge things. And as I say down here, this might actually lead to a market dominance move from 2.5% to 5% to even 10% in the short term. I'm talking about this year, and much higher in the longer term to 2025. So we could start to see, as I said before, this market dominance start to really, really pick up for Ripple because ultimately it's been suppressed for so long. Think of like bulls accumulating like their momentum before like a massive pump, right? This has been going on for years and years. Ultimately, the community is kind of worn out a little bit from what I've seen in terms of XRP, but I do think this news is going to revitalize everyone once again. So speaking of like price predictions, let's just get these over with. We've seen some massive hundreds of thousands of dollar price predictions from people, and I do think that Ripple can do it because of where they're going. But of course, I've got to be somewhat realistic here and say, like, this is a big if then that statement. We could claim any project could have hundreds of thousands of dollars in their terms of price or market cap, just like Quant for an example, but it's always if then that statements. Until they come true, we don't really know for certain, but I do think Ripple is one of the projects that can bring this to life, okay? So as I say, it isn't easy, and this is a massive sort of if then that, but let's talk about it. And why I say we should accumulate $1,000 today is because that's about $460, so just shy of $500. And if they win the lawsuit, again, it's going to always stipulate on this, I see this year the minimum going to $1, so therefore you would pretty much double your return, right? And the market cap would have to be about $52 billion to the maximum being about $6. Therefore, you're getting about $5,888 back. But the market cap would have to go to about $311 billion. This is, of course, considering all the current circulating supply is still in circulation. We're not, getting any more in circulation because it's kind of hard to tell exactly with Ripple. It will happen, but we don't know exactly by how much, okay? So the main reason why I want to make this video is in 2025, guys, right? This is going to obviously depend on the lawsuit being won and finalized, and also some regulatory clarity, but also, and most importantly, real business to business and business to government adoption, right? Now, one thing I want to say before I show you these predictions is this is going to account for 53 billion tokens in circulation. We have about just over 51 billion right now. And again, it's impossible for us to go ahead and see and tell how much Ripple is actually going to insert into the market, okay? Now, minimum side of things, I think $5 is somewhat reasonable. That's about a $265 billion market cap, putting your return a little bit less than what it could possibly max go to, at least in my prediction this year. On the max side, I think $100 turning $460 into $98,000, but the market cap will have to be a mind-bending $5.3 trillion. I must say, if Ripple actually accomplishes what they're intending to accomplish, this market cap is going to be a lot more in the future. And you have people saying there's going to be, prices going to be tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars. So this is going to obviously depend that, just like every other project out there, they succeeded what they're trying to accomplish, right? And so there's three factors you must consider moving into 2025 plus. Number one is the scope. So XRP upholds, or at least wants to uphold, the entire global economy, right? It's a very ambitious thing, but they do have a lot of partnerships already and customers that can bring this to seriously fruition, right? Absorbs trillions of dollars every single year. Absolutely, I think it's possible, right? Cross-border payments, specifically business to business, business to government, micro payments, e-commerce payments, remittances. You guys know the drill. Anything cross-border, they want to facilitate it, right? Tokenization, right? Tokenization assets on Ripple Ledger with IOUs, and Ripple has the actual chance to kind of tokenize funds from investment companies like BlackRock, Vanguard, etc. Over the years, we've had so many little clips and hints and pieces that some of these guys in high power, including BlackRock, have inadvertently mentioned Ripple without actually mentioning Ripple. So there's a lot of speculation as to a lot of this stuff actually being possible already. Now, CBDC Highway, this is what I'm really excited for, but obviously it's CBDC, so you have to limit that. Now, there is no doubt, in my opinion, that CBDCs are coming, right? Many countries will opt to use them, and chances are they will actually host the CBDCs on their own network. So this is important to remember because Algorand, Hedera, other networks that kind of are proposing that, hey, we're going to run CBDCs on a public network. I don't think that will actually come true. I think at most, maybe they'll use their private network of, that particular, DLT, Hedera, Algorand. But in saying that, that doesn't really absorb any token for those networks. There's no real, if America decided to use the hash graph, for example, for their CBDC, they would obviously use a private instance. Why would they want that on a public ledger? So the interesting thing about Ripple is that they will still need a place to interoperate with all between them. So you're going to always still need a cross-border payment. That they have to actually have somewhere that processes all of these transactions, right? They can have their own private networks. Ultimately, there still has to be something that facilitates the transfer cross borders, and that's where obviously Ripple can come into the equation. So who are some of Ripple's competitors, right? This is pretty important, and I want to say for the record, there are more competitors than this in different sort of aspects, but these are the main cross-border-esque competitors. So any and all cross-border payment services total around $156 trillion in value from last year alone, okay? Now that's in terms of value, dollars, but in terms of actual transactions, well, Swift processed about 15.6 billion, Western Union about 290, and PayPal 22.3. Again, it's only 3. There's a lot more competitors even in this cross-border payment type narrative, okay, or industry. Now, the third and final is value capture. You do have to remember, XRP is used for transactions. You can't use the network, guys, without using XRP. Now, you can think of all those cross-border transactions I spoke about moments ago. Multiply that by maybe 2 or 3 to consider the whole entire world's cross-border payments, remittances, so on and so forth. And that's a lot of bloody transactions, right? So it's also a fixed supply of 100 billion XRP forever. And that ultimately means there will be a supply shock eventually, okay? Now, the good thing is, well, the tokens are burned. So for all you degens out there, it is deflationary. And they're not going to run out for another 70k years. So what does that actually mean? Well, they've pretty much come out and said at the current burn rate, they'll have enough XRP tokens to go another 70,000 years, which is incredible. But obviously, to be honest, that will obviously pick up steam. So it won't be 70,000 years, but who bloody cares? No one's going to be even around by then, right? Okay, so overall opinion, what am I saying? Okay, just spending shy of $500 is quite reasonable for a project that's promising. Ultimately, guys, and this is my opinion, it may take longer to realize than a meme coin, but ultimately it could provide us with, returns just as profitable as a meme coin. And when you think about the gravity of what XRP is, and truly, if it does absorb all of these transactions and payments, guys, it's going to go up well and truly above $1,000, $2,000 eventually. Okay, it just will. It's just how mathematics works. How maths works. Like, I've said really smart now, don't I? So ultimately, I think we can't really look too far ahead because that's very if then that statements. But what we can go ahead and say is like, look, buying at least right now, 26 bill market cap seems scary, seems ridiculous. You wouldn't want to do it, at least you're someone who loves the high returns. But what it can provide in the long term is something that can be a lot more than what you can possibly find in other cryptocurrencies right now. So here's some stats to take away and enjoy, right? 4.7 million holders, not a lot, but again, that's obviously for a pretty obvious reason, right? Thanks to the SEC. Top 100 holders, right? 32.97%, which is very diversified. It's actually the lowest I have so far seen in any cryptocurrency project. Business-to-business customers so far is over 300, and they've burned 11,100,000 transactions, guys. That's a lot. But of course, it's only going to get more and more in the future as more transactions are processed. Guys, that's going to do it for this video. I really, really thank you for your time today. If you do want to learn a bit more about XRP, I'm happy because I want to make more videos on it, and I definitely will in future. So if you want to see those, please subscribe with the bell on. I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. All right, guys, take care.